Welcome to part 10. We're going to do the wings. This shot I'm doing here, that's purely for Tim the Plane Man. He asked for a long shot. You got your long shot. Okay Tim, I hope you're happy with that. So let's crack on with the wings. So let's turn the camera around, point it down in the correct direction. Now I find this a little unusual. What they ask you to do is get all the main spars and glue them in the centre, the whole set of them, the top, the middle and the bottom, and I don't understand why they don't just get you to do the top, finish the top wing and then do the middle, finish the middle wing, then do the bottom wing and then finish that. I don't understand that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We said we'd go with the instructions, and that's what they ask us to do. So now that I have the various references, now I advise you strongly to concentrate quite hard on this, because make sure you locate them using the drawings and you mark them. It's quite easy to get this wrong, and if you get it wrong and you've glued them together, well, you're in trouble. So just be careful, take your time. I spent a lot of time being careful with this. So that's for the top wing, that's for the middle wing, that's for the bottom wing, and they ask you to get a long straight edge. They don't say a ruler, they say a long straight edge. You may have seen this ruler before. I bought this from the pound shop. It cost me £1, believe it or not, and this one is 60.5 centimeters long. So it's just the right length. It's nice and straight. So they say put the edge against the struts, pin them down, and then wick them in, which I did, and I made sure I pushed them down with my finger, and you know, it goes off pretty quick. What you must also do is the little nibs that you get when you take them out of the balsa, you must sand them off. I've used some 800 grade, so I don't get, you know, too hard or rough with it. So they're all being sanded off, all the nibs. They've all been straightened up like this. I've wicked them all in and pinned them down. So now I have to take those off the drawing. Now this is drawing sheet 2. They have actually put the drawings laid out for you to make it even easier, because it is easy to muck it up if you're not concentrating too hard. So that's where we are: top, middle, bottom, main spars. So now on page 26 it now goes into building up the top wing, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to read that now. I'm going to pop out the parts, get them ready, and I will come straight back to you. Well, if you got to the stage where you are building this kit, this is going to be a lifesaver for you. And I'll tell you for why. These instructions are so complicated to get into your head, it's unreal. So I'm basically going to take this apart and show you what to do. Now it says in here, build up the top wing, locate, remove the following parts: STS1, RT1, RT2 from sheet 14, blah, 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 blah. Referring to the plan, dry assemble ribs RTS1, RT1 ribs into the front spar assembly of WLFS and WRFS, and into the lower part of the middle spar assembly and rear spar assembly. Now, what they're not telling you is the reference number for the middle spar, and then what they negate to tell you is that the front spar TWT goes into the front, but that comes later on. So now that leaves you with some spars thinking, where the hell did they go? Now, to save a lot of confusion here, or to demonstrate the confusion here, you will note that this says TWLMS L being left, TWLMS 2 So these are two spars that go together, these two here, okay? But it doesn't tell you which is the top and which is the bottom, so you have to kind of work it out. You work it out because you have this chamfered edge here, and therefore with a little bit of playing around you notice that one goes on top of the other. And you can see, now where's the reference here? Oh, here it is. It says, if you can see that properly, I don't know if you can see that properly, TWLRS. Now, I've worked out that it's top wing left. And what the RS stands for exactly, I don't know. So this one, which is this one here, it makes you think that this is this, but it isn't. So it all gets a bit confusing. So I'm just going to show you what I did and how it seems to go together for me. So here we are. Now, the front rib is TLWEL, leading edge left, leading edge left. TWLER, lead top wing, leading edge right. So that is the leading edge, and that obviously goes in like that. Then you get TWLFS. Now, top wing left. I'm not sure what FS is. So you then, behind that, TWLMS goes on the bottom, TWLMS goes on the top, and the top one pulls out like this, you see. Then rib RTS1, which is this one, and this one here, yeah, they go the further out to the two farthest out edges, and in the middle you put in, where's my reference I wrote on them, the RT1s. So the RT1s are 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They go in the middle, okay, and then you have on the end RTS1, RTS1. This part, which is the TWTE, trailing edge, so top wing trailing edge, so I'll work that one out for myself, slots in there, and that's how you start putting the ribs in. So once you've figured out that TWLMS and TWRMS, this to get combined together goes on the top there, you can now take that out, leave it to one side, and put the rest of the ribs in. Now I urge you not to glue anything at all until you're absolutely sure that you've got it right. The other thing I'd advise you is to sand off the darkened edge of the ribs, and I'll tell you for why, because you'll have an easier time doing that while it's not as part of the wing, but you have to do it because when you come to put the skin on, yeah, it will wrinkle up. It will wrinkle up because the skin won't want to stick to it. So it'll stick readily to a nice clean surface. So clean all your ribs up. And I've cleaned all of these ribs up here, ready. It took me about, I don't know, roughly 35 minutes, 40 minutes to do that. Now I'm going to click off and click back on again to show you how this looks once the ribs are in. Well, I've put everything together, and let's just refer back to the instructions just for a moment or two. Now, after we put this trailing edge in, we have to dry assemble the trailing edge, TWTE, which is this, into the rear ribs of RTS1 here and RT1, which is these here, and fit the leading edge into the front of all the ribs. which I've already put in. I don't really know why you need to put the leading edge in last. I don't quite get that, but hey, you know, that's what it says, and I said I would do it to the instructions. So here we are. Locate and remove wingtip parts TWT. So I suspect it means top wing tip. So there's one there and there's one there. Okay, from sheet 15. To the plan, dry assemble them into position, which I've done. Pin the wing assembly to the plan, aligning the wing so it is square and straight, and ensure that all the parts are correctly and fully seated before wicking CA into all the joints and along the spar joints. So, as you can see, this is where the ailerons will seat eventually. So we've got everything in place. We've got this top rail in here. Everything's where it should be. So all we're going to do now is just line it up with the plan, put your pins in. Normally, I would say you would pin this as you go along, but this is how they want you to do it. They wanted something similar with the SE5A. Not entirely the same, but you know, more or less the same, so put it together first. But that's what we're going to do. Oh, there was something I missed out earlier. There are some marks on this face of the last spar. Make sure they're facing that way. They're just little dotted lines that just point up. I think it's where the servo goes. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I don't know whether you can see that. Can you? Sorry, I'm not very good with the camera right now. Let me get the camera in the right place. Yeah, I don't know whether you can see that or not, but where that little slot is, there's some lines, and that faces towards the leading edge. So let's put it all back, make sure the camera's lined up. Yeah, more or less. So picked it up there like that. So that's what we're going to do. So to save you getting bored, I'll do that out of shot. So I'm not sure how long this filming is now, but I'll pin this down just like it says, line everything up, and then I might go on to part 11. I'm not sure how many minutes got left on this. Okay. Okay, so that's all been wicked in, and now for the part where you're going to need a magnifying glass. Oh yes, because it tells you now to go to step 8, remove CSG from sheet 7, and this is CSG from sheet 7. There's 4 of these. Now, if I'm being honest, I think I come to the conclusion that this manual needs a little bit of editing and proofreading. It could be a little bit clearer, but it doesn't tell you there's 4 of these. Okay, so what you do is, these are for the cabanes. So it says in on one side. It tells you to put them in between RTS1 and RT1 on each side of the wing. Stick one to the rear of the front spar and the other to the front of the middle spar, with the slot openings facing towards the etched in, facing towards the middle of the wing. So in other words, what you do is, as you can probably see with this here, there's your in, there's the front face of the middle wing, that slot faces that way, and you slip them in. These apply, okay, like that. You slip them in. Oh, be careful. I need to be slack now, okay. The same this side. You see it says in there, and that's facing towards the fuzz. So does that one. So they're facing each other. Okay. Now you need to make sure that those are flat to the surface. So what I'm going to do is Just got to do this. Okay. Because then I know it's right. Okay, and they're flat to the board. There you go. There we are. Like that. I'm going to put the end over the top, make sure I'm happy with it, and I shall whip those in. And then we move on to the next bit. Okay, the next bit is rather interesting. And as usual, I suggest you read this 3 or 4 times. What they're asking you to do is remove parts St1 and Sd2 from sheet 7 and remove slot spacer from sheet 18. Now, basically, without going into a lot of description, you'll find this is the spacer. You'll find that St2 is shaped like this, and it's got an F there, so that goes towards the front. St1, I'm using this just because it's easier, is rectangular and has an F which faces the front. So you put St1 in with the F facing towards the front on the inner side of the 3rd rib, like that. St2, the T-shaped one, F facing that way, goes into the slot just past the 3rd rib, slots in like that. And I have to admit, it's quite a good fit. Okay, so now what you have to do is make sure that they're flush to each other and the rib, and then this is purely a gauge. It's a gauge. So you put the slot spacer in, make sure that it fits and it can move, so there's no real friction in there, and that tells you then that they are equally spaced, and then you can wick them in. And it's the same with the other side here, and you just plonk that in there, that slides in pretty readily, so that's okay. So what I would tend to do is actually, while it's still in, where's my glue gun? Oh, I've lost my glue, man. Right, just put a little bit on the outside edge there. Okay, so we know that's going to be right. Make sure it's fully down, and then let's pull it up a little bit. Wick some glue into the top of there. Let go in. Wipe off the excess. Now this is where you're going to take a chance. I would put that spacer in. Okay, it's in. And, you know, actually a bit of Vaseline on there wouldn't go with this. We'll do the same over here. See how that moved? Push it back. Check that. Yeah, that's a goer. And then make sure it's down. Push your finger. Look a bit of CA in there. Okay, there you go. And that's it. So while I'm at it, I'll do these races here because I haven't done it previously. Been too busy reading the instructions. A little bit on the top, just to make sure. I think I'll have to change this nozzle. A bit big. There you go. they're all done. They're all done. I hope you found that instructive. Me showing you all this now, I guarantee this is going to save you oodles of time. Really do. Now I've just noticed, I haven't seen it in the instructions yet, that TWSD goes in here. That's TWSD, and so far I haven't seen anything that tells me to put that in there, which is obviously a strengthener. So I'm going to put them in there just for now, until it tells me to do it, because I keep thinking I'm going to lose these two things. So there's your strengtheners. Now let's see what else it says before I come away. Locate move parts AH2 × 4 from sheet 12. Refer to the plan and stick the parts to the front of the rear spar at the two locations on each side of the wing. Use the vertical etch lines on the rear spar to correctly locate them and ensure that they are against the building board before wicking a small amount of sand into the joints to avoid getting glue into the hinge slots. These are Aileron hinge mounts. Let's see what they're saying. Well, what I might have to do is change this board around so I can get nearer to me. Right, I'm having to hold this in my hand right now. Right, so AH2 × 4 from sheet 12. So this is, where are we? There we are. AH2 from sheet 12. AH2 from sheet 12. Now, what I've done is, I've got the Mylar hinge here. I've measured this here. This is 6mm wide. So I've cut these 6mm wide, popped them in, because you know what? That is the most accurate way I can think of that you're going to get these hinges in the right place. This is just purely my own thoughts and way of doing it. And strangely enough, right at the bottom on the page is TSWSD. These got to go, which is what I showed you earlier. Yeah, they've got to go here. Whoa, there we go. Got to go here. So they are where I thought they're supposed to go. So I'm going to wick those in. I'm going to wick those in there, and I'll just pull the Mylar hinges out. If they get stuck in there, they get stuck in there. It doesn't matter. That's where they're supposed to be. But you know what? I can always do it again. So I'm going to put some glue either side of there. Let it go off. Pull the Mylar hinge out. Just go around it a little bit more. All four, and then wick in these. Where are they? Yes, here. TWSD braces, and I think that'll do for this video. And we will continue in, was it part 11, I think. So yeah, top wing. There you go. Thank you for watching.